Good evening now, ladies and gentlemen. This is Maximus Black.
And Nova War.
And we are bringing you the other half of the semifinals. And this time we have Ivernus starting over here in the left position. And down bottom we have Zdra. And he is the Protoss. Zdra, good player. Ivernus, good player. I've watched a couple of their games before this. They both know what they're doing. And they both are actually pretty aggressive players, so this should call for an exciting matchup.
Yeah, very aggressive players, actually. Up to this point, Ivernus, I think, out of the two, the more aggressive, being, of course, the Zerg player. That just comes with the race, I think. But he is a very aggressive player. I will be interested to see. There's a little bit of an extractor trick for you real quick. But I will be interested to see how this plays out, because they are in fairly close, or the closest positions I guess you can get here on Metalopolis. And like Jeff was saying, very good players, the both of them. Up to this point in the tournament, like Jeff and I were live casting and that we hadn't watched a lot of Zdra up to this point. We had been watching other matches, and we were kind of interested to see what he played like, because we were hearing so much about how well Zdra was playing up to this point in the tournament. And so, I was very interested when I saw this match the first time, and it really did kind of open the doors a little bit to see what these players' mentalities were like in the tournament. I think it shows when we watch this match, it will show you guys where their mindsets were in terms of what their opponents or what they were allowed to get away with their other opponents.
Yeah, so it actually looks like both have just ended up scouting each other. Ivernus with a very interesting start here. Did a quick extractor trick to get an extra drone out before getting that first initial, or that second initial overlord, I guess, because you start with one. But before building that first overlord, also, he went and got an extractor before his spawning pool, and then took 3 drones right off the bat and started extracting gas from them, and now getting the spawning pool. Very interesting. It's going to slow down his money a little bit, but his gas is going to be up there. I wonder what he plans on doing.
Well, other than the fact that we're psychic, and we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's true. It's very. When I remember when I watched it, and Jeff and I were here, talking about it. We were wondering what the heck is this guy doing, because you never see a Zerg build like that, or at least I never.
Not
do.
often.
Yeah, like it's very rare. Like they have to have some very specific thing in mind. And down at the other end, Zdra's kind of doing the Protoss thing, no real different than anybody else. It's just kind of I think he got a little bit later of a Cybernetic Explorer by the looks of it.
He got 2 gateways and then went and got the Cybernetic core. He is getting a couple of faster Zealots. This could be just protocol because of the Zergling rush, the Zergling push.
Yeah.
He is getting the speed up now, so maybe he wanted to get a couple of Zealots off, block off the front, and make sure he has some units in his base to deal with the first initial attack. I don't know, maybe that's it.
You can do that. He didn't. If that was the case, he did a really terrible job of setting up a good blocking scenario for himself. But other than that, there it is now. Now he'll have a decent block. Most Protoss will definitely rely on Sentry to do that for them, like 1 Sentry to block off their main, because if a Zerg comes in with a 6 pool, let's say, it's really not that hard to defend a 6 pool. You can do the job with your probes if need be, and then when your units come out, you're okay. But some Protoss do favor a little bit.
Wow. Seizure. Okay.
All right, well.
One thing that I do want to add is he's actually getting a melee attack here for his Lings. Also, the speed is going. I don't know if is he gonna be going heavy Ling. I still don't see a Roach Warren yet. He is getting a layer, so.
This and it still is one of the more random things I've ever seen a Zerg player do.
Yeah, it's really risky. This is an extremely risky build, because if the Protoss was doing that early aggression push, and I'm not talking the 4-gate, I'm talking about running out there, getting a couple of gateways, pumping out as much Zealots as possible, as fast as you can, he would die a horribly painful death. And
creep tumor.
Yeah, it's just
I just tripped out there for a second.
He is doing a good job at creeping, now putting down a couple of spine crawlers. That's just mainly because he's seen that Zdra does have quite a few units, and in case he does come and attack, he would be in a world of trouble.
Is that a Nidus? I believe it is now, isn't it? If you just look
right there.
Aha! So if you go down, I think you're going to see an Overlord right here. This is his master plan then. His master plan was, this is why we saw an early gas, this is why we saw delayed production of that Overlord in favor of some more drones to get the economy going. And this is why we're seeing such heavy upgrades for Lings, is it looks like he's going to do something like a Nidus Worm.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about a couple of things here before this attack happens. And the pylon now going down for Zdra to make sure nothing fishy is going down, but something fishy is going to go down.
Yeah.
He could be doing this for one of two things. He could be doing it so he doesn't have to deal with this initial front,
Right.
doesn't have to deal with those sentries, doesn't have to deal with that choke, and he could also be doing it for shock value, There it is, right there. Another thing I don't really like about Zerg is that you don't need creep to do that. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. Since Zerg is a creep, it's like creep is their oxygen.
Also,
they should need creep in order to create this sort of stuff. But here it goes. Here are the Lings. The Lings are going to do absolutely nothing against all these units. Doing a good job at clicking on one of those mineral lines, or one of those blocks of minerals, and ooh, that was a nice little force field there to trap some of those guys in. Doing a great job at taking minimal damage, actually no damage at all, from the probes, and the Ling need to run out of that base right now and keep all those units alive. And I think Zdra right now smells blood, and if he doesn't go and counter right now, that would be a really, really bad play.
Yeah, no, I think he most definitely will go and counter right now. And as you can see, if you look at right around, he's going to go kill that Nidus Worm, but if you look next right there, go back to his, right here, you see this right here. That is why that was there in the first place. And that is why, like you were saying before, those first initial zealots were out. He was expecting an early push by Zerglings. I don't think he was expecting to see a Nidus Worm show up with a bunch of Zerglings.
No.
But he had those there to help choke off so that if Zerglings did come, he had some stuff to work with sentry shields, and it worked to his advantage. And he successfully defended what is probably one of the more unorthodox attacks by Zerg I've seen in a while, and I'm sure somebody out there is going to correct me and say some crazy pro guys tried it at some point in another, but you know what?
Well, guess what? I don't care about pros because we do average Joe games here.
And how many times have you seen an average Joe just say, you know what, I'm going to rely on a Zergling Nidus Worm push?
I think it's cool.
I mean, it was cool, and I think in some scenarios that would totally work, and it probably has worked for him in the past, and that's why he did it, but this push is going to be absolutely devastating here. This is a really good unit composition for this counterattack, and there's almost nothing that he's going to be able to do about it.
No, I mean, his money's too low right now. He just put too much money into these spine crawlers. I have no idea why he went and got an infestation pit. I don't know what his plans were with that. I probably would have got a roach warren, or maybe at that point you're just dead. I mean,
yeah.
he had a goal.
Attack,
yeah, he had a goal set in mind, and it failed. And I think he knows that. And this is going to be GG. I cannot see him getting out of this alive. And that's pretty much all she wrote here. Now taking the drones off the line to try to do some sort of damage, but these zealots are just going to rip through them. The queen is now dead. $478. He ain't doing nothing.
No, that's going to be game. And you know, this was yeah, well, that Nidus didn't go very well. No, it did not. Ivernus, it did not, unfortunately. But I commend you, sir, for that valiant effort. It is nice to see something out of the ordinary every once in a while. It's nice not to just see the same old pushes over and over again. I think that Nidus Worm, if he did that build, and maybe it could be a little earlier. I don't think it could be a great deal earlier. If he's up against a Protoss that doesn't have a really solid opening build, I think that would be absolutely devastating if he got it just before the 4-gate push, because most Protoss players only build a couple of Sentry and a Zealot to focus on economy, so that when they get their 4-gate, they can build up those units very quick for the attack. So sometimes they don't even have anything to defend with. I think that's a very useful thing to do if in the right scenarios, but it was nice to see, and you know, like I said, I have to commend you for the effort.
Yeah, one thing that I do want to tell everybody about the tournament, and I don't think me and Adam talked about it yet, is I know you're probably seeing a lot of Metalopolis, and that is mainly because this is the starting map, and the loser of the match picks the next map.
Yeah.
So Ivernus is going to be picking the next map. I wonder what that's going to be. Zdra now taking the series 1-0. If Zdra wins the next game, he is going in the finals. I won't tell you who he's going to go face off because I don't know which order these are going to go up on the channel.
No idea.
But anyways, If Zdra wins the next game, he's going to the finals, and we're bringing you a lot more casts. We got to do a lot more, so we better get to it.
We've got a lot of stuff to get to, so let's sign out. This has been Nova War.
And your boy, Maximus Black.
Peace out.
Peace out.